Welcome to our last chapter, Chapter 12. We're going to be exploring life at home, which is families and relationships. So let's get started. Families are defined by sociologists as a social group whose members are bound by some type of tie, whether it be legal, biological, emotional, or a combination of all three. While many of the statistics you look up, for example, under the census, define family differently, it can vary by your social groups, region, history, and culture. Example could be, how many cousins do you have? Or is your uncle related? Who is your kin? We have extended family members, nuclear family, and even unrelated that develop their own type of family. We have four different types of theories. The structural functionalism. Under this, they're saying that family creates success and survival, adding the stability and community, and it's dependent on the structure and norms of marriage. Under conflict theory, they're saying the power is part of a family life and the struggles, and such gender roles and ability and violence create inequality. Under symbolic interactionism, family status can be evaluated. Just because you're related, are you family and vice versa? Family rights and obligations and sentiments. Family's based on our behavior. You can have a sister who you don't see or get along with. There's no relationship, but you may, on the other hand, who have a friend that you call family because they're there for you. They support you, and there's a lot of interaction. Then there's the feminist and queer theory. This questions the concept of male head of household in families. If there's no male, who heads up the families, especially in non-hetero families? It should be a requirement to have it. It should not be a requirement to have this role. There are different types of families and those relationships. These can include unmarried life. Maybe you're solo parenting. Maybe you're having blended families, and chose child-free families. According to the reported 2022 census materials in our book, married couples 46.8%, single person households were 28.9%, single parents were 10.2%, cohabitating couples were 7.3%, and households with other relatives were 4.5%. Other was 2.3%. So it's not required that we all look the same. You may not know whether people are choosing to have children or not. A family is not necessarily defined by having a marriage or not, and it could be that family roles take on different parts. So maybe you have grandma, grandpa, mom, child, or many other combinations. Maybe you have a gay couple with a child. Maybe you have a single dad. So it's going to vary over time. And with sociologists, we don't define family simply as being married with children. Unfortunately, with marriage, there sometimes happens to be divorce and remarriage. So let me give you a few facts. There are 40 to 50% of marriages end in divorce. Now, in the 1980s, it was actually 50%. So they're saying that it has went down some. But 50% of the children who experience their parents getting divorced. So, 50% are not going to have married parents. They're going to be a result of divorce. 80% of divorced get remarried. Now, when looking at this impact on children, it can impact housing, family income, location. Maybe the child has to move. The schools, maybe they can't go to that school anymore. relationships and interaction with both parents. Maybe one person got more custody than the other. So it can affect many different elements. And children of divorce are more likely to end their adult relationships, according to studies. Divorce is not always defined as having a formal divorce because of a formal marriage. It can be the breakup of two parents, and for us with the concept of children involved in divorce. There is true that many people will remarry. So again, 80% of divorced people get remarried. Domestic violence can play a role in relationships. We often think of it as simply women, married women, but actually it can happen with teen dating violence, adults, it can happen to the elderly, it can happen to men, and it can happen to women. And you don't have to be married to be a product of domestic violence. Nationally, it's reported that 1 in 4 women and 1 in 7 men have been victims of severe physical domestic violence from an intimate partner in their lifetime. That's not including all of the different forms of domestic violence. These can include physical, emotional, verbal, sexual, financial, and isolation. On average, nearly 20 people per minute are physically abused by an intimate partner in the United States. In 1 year, this equates to more than 10 million women and men. According to the North Carolina Coalition Against Domestic Violence, there have been 32 deaths from domestic violence in Mecklenburg County from 2018 to 2024. But let's say, it's not always physical. I'm not being hit. I'm not experiencing domestic violence. But the truth is, yes, you can experience domestic violence and it's not always physical. It can take on a different role. So let me go over just a few samples that I've gotten from the National Coalition of Domestic Violence, and what they've stated are just a few things that you might notice in domestic violence. Have you had your hair pulled or punched, slapped, kicked, bit, choked, throwing things at you or smothered you, forbid or prevent you from eating or sleeping, use weapons against you, harm your children or your pet, force you to use drugs or alcohol, preventing you from leaving, throwing objects at you, preventing you from taking medication that you need or deny you necessary medical treatment, calling you names and insulting you, or constantly criticizing you, acting jealous or possessive and refusing to trust you, isolating you, monitoring your activities, and not allowing to use any of the finances, controlling what you wear and what you look like, threatening you, your children, your family, or your pets with or without weapons, damaging your belongings, including throwing objects, punching walls, kicking doors, shredding clothing, blaming you for their abusive behavior, accusing you of cheating or cheating themselves and blaming you for the actions. And yes, looking through it, there's physical, there's emotional way that people are spoken to or treated, and it can mess with someone's feelings of mental health. Verbal, the way someone speaks to you. Sexual, yes, you can be raped by your partner. Financial, again, they're controlling all funds or taking all the funds and not allowing you any. And isolation, maybe they're isolating you from your friends, your family, or complete isolation. I do want you to be aware that there is a service in Mecklenburg County. It's called Safe Alliance. They not only have shelters, they also have a helpline. They have legal assistance. they have counseling. If you are experiencing domestic violence, please use this number, or if you know someone that's experiencing, use this number. It's 980-771-4673. Traditionally, there have been the roles of household jobs. Maybe there are things such as what they used to call women's work, the grocery shopping, the washing the dishes, the cooking, the laundry, and the childcare, maybe even the family scheduling. While men tend to do more things like outdoor work, repairs, auto, and these are not always part of the conditions. These have changed over time, but by studies, they are still playing a large role and still do occur largely. Society, religion, and economy can change this. Maybe the role is different for different societies. Maybe the economy can change that. Maybe dad becomes the stay-at-home dad and does the scheduling and the home items. Maybe you have someone that's very skilled in maybe the home repairs and it's a female. What if there are two women living together? What role do they play in it? Um, so one thing that I've talked about is while you don't see as many dads at drop-offs or PTO meetings as moms, there is an increase and not always considered abnormal. One thing that once came out as a movie, it was known as called Mr. Mom in the 1980s. It was about this dad who lost his job and the wife ended up getting this high corporate job and he ended up staying home with the children. People thought this was abnormal and strange, but nowadays it is accepted, but it's not, according to different studies, it's still not the norm. Now, as we are having an increase in those aging, we're having an increase in senior citizens due to health, medication, services out there, but the changes in the family dynamic have occurred. It used to be that family could live together. Grandma could live with maybe son and his wife and their children. But now the changes have occurred where maybe they're not all under one roof. We're seeing more and more senior living facilities going up, senior apartments and housing, nursing homes, where people live separate from their families. So as we're seeing an increase in aging, we're continuing to see opportunities for the family not to be together under one roof, but under separate roofs and having separate portions of their lives. So this was your final chapter, chapter 12 with me. I want to thank you especially for sticking it out and getting through all of these chapters. Now, some quick notes. Reminder, allow up to 48 hours for an email response. This week, I will be doing it much quicker. I will be trying to check it regularly. If you do email me after 9 p.m., allow me till the next morning to reply. I am available for virtual meetings. I've had several of you that have met with me virtually, and we've had some success, I think, from that, discuss things. This week, if you want to do a virtual meeting, we do have the discussion coming up. You can run some of your ideas by me, and I'm happy to do that. We have the quizzes and the exam coming up. I'm happy to just review some of the materials with you, whatever it may take. Again, make sure you allow it for a week for grading. We're going to be submitting that also to the college, so you will have to wait to get your final grades for them to send those out. And this week, all assignments are due by Friday at 11:59 p.m. That is a change. It's not Sunday this week. It's Friday at 11:59 p.m. So you have Chapter 10, Chapter 11, and Chapter 12 quizzes. You have a discussion, and you have your final exam. Couple of notes with a discussion. Make sure you make your statement, follow the guidelines there. and reply to someone else's statement. With your final exam, make sure to take your time and go through it. If you find that you don't have a lot of time, you don't think you can get it all done, try. Even if you can only do a portion of it, submit as much as you can. But I do strongly encourage you submit everything because it can make or break a grade. So with that said, it again has been a pleasure. If you need anything, reach out to me. Even after you finish this class, if you ever want to reach out or you have some questions, I'm happy to talk with you. And I hope to see you in future sociological classes.